Hey there, guys, and welcome to another episode of Ask Exterminator. This is a weekly series where you guys ask me questions and I answer them. So this week I'm answering questions from last week, and if you have questions for me, I'll leave them in the comments of this video and I will answer them next week. It can be Factorio related, game related, unrelated to any games or anything, as long as it's appropriate for me to answer here on YouTube, and I'll be happy to answer to the best of my ability. So we don't actually have a ton from last week. It was a lot of people responding about like my fluid rants and other rants and stuff like that. So we're just gonna hop in here. Tyler Reitz, who I think has had a question every week, which is totally fine. Definitely like recognizing the names here. Asks, they say, thanks for answering my questions every week. They say, I struggle with my mega base. Basically, they never have enough plastic. It's always my bottleneck. Any tips or tricks that could improve it? Um, I mean, this is like, you know, so this is interesting. I mean, my overarching tip is gonna sound like really rude and obvious, and it's just make more plastic. Obviously, it's not as simple as that. I would say if like plastic being your bottleneck is understandable because there's quite a few things that take plastic. Um, so there's a few things. First off, making sure that once you get first off, make sure you do get advanced oil processing, which will allow you to produce more petroleum directly from the refineries, and then also crack your um, other products basically into petroleum. So get advanced oil processing, and then switch your refineries over to it, and then crack your heavy oil into light oil, and your light oil into petroleum, and that should give you extra petroleum, and then that will allow you to build more plastic refineries. Of course, that will require more coal and stuff like that. And then if you're still struggling, you could like productivity and speed beacon the plastic, or you could just speed module it. Or probably cheaper than that would be to just expand your oil production. And then of course that will probably require more crude oil, which you will then need to go get. And that's kind of just the game, that's just Factorio, right? That's that's kind of the way Factorio works. So yeah, I mean, I totally understand it. It's a pretty common problem, I'd say. I even run into that, and like for myself, when I run into it, I usually just have to kind of build more of everything oil related that leads up to plastic to be able to keep up with it. Which is quite a process, but that's usually um, usually the solution that I come up with. Um, Linus asks, Linus Woodlund asks, they say that you have played, meaning me, Satisfactory a bit when it first came out. I was wondering why you have not played it since. They have added a ton of stuff, and I was wondering if you would be interested in making a Satisfactory YouTube series. So I did play Satisfactory when it first came out, and I stopped because I think maybe some Factorio updates came out, or I had a new series idea or collaboration or something, and basically I just kind of switched to Factorio because that was my main content, and Satisfactory just wasn't doing super hot on the channel. It was doing okay, but not great, and it was very, very like a very long process to like get anything done. I found it fairly tedious, and just a very long process to get anything done in Satisfactory, because there wasn't there wasn't blueprints, there weren't like robots that would go build stuff for you, and stuff like that. Now maybe they did add some of that, which would make it better. I'm not opposed to playing it again. Like, it's not like I dislike the game. I just find it very time consuming to get much done, and you can't, at least from what I understand, you can't really scale it the same way Factorio scales. So I just find it kind of hard to like have a sense of, um, I don't know, like a solid goal or something. I know there's kind of a goal in the game. I don't know. I just found it very time consuming. Like, it just took a very long time to get much of any production done and anything set up, because there was just like very little automation of building buildings and like transport lines and stuff like you have in Factorio. So yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to it. I've considered it. It kind of, at this point, it's a kind of a time limitation. Like, I'm super jammed with my schedule and everything. So I'm just I'm not sure I would have time for that right now. Um, And Tyler again asks, have you considered doing a video where you go through each of the Factorio achievements and your thoughts and opinions on each of them? By go through them, I don't know if you mean like actually complete them or literally just like look at a list of them and then give my thoughts. I would certainly be willing to do the second option. I would very much be willing to just look at the achievements. I pretty much know what they are and then give my thoughts and opinions on them. If you're suggesting that I go through and actually get each achievement and then give my thoughts and opinions on it, I think it's an excellent idea. Personally, I don't think I would do that because I don't really have an interest in like getting achievements. So, I mean, sure, like obviously I would be doing it for the content, which is fine. But some of it is a very long process. Some of them, or some of them, require like a whole different playthrough, which I just unfortunately don't have time for right now. Um, so maybe in the future, I think it's actually an excellent idea. And there were some thumbs up on it as well, so other people agree, I would say. But yeah, I just I don't know that I have time right now for that, for like actually getting each one, because to get like There's No Spoon, I'd have to start a whole new playthrough of some sort to like do it, and it would probably take a try or two because I'm not a fast player, so it would probably take a little while, to get 20 million circuit one. That's going to take a very long time. To get all the other ones, it would just kind of take quite a while. But yeah, I think it's a really good idea. I would definitely consider that for the future. Gaming, this is the name, asks, have you ever considered doing a robot-only world, or for that matter, belts and inserters only, or trains only? They say, at one point I had started a robot world, haven't gone back to it in a while. My first problem was poor power management, as looking back on it now, I should have piped my water close to my local mine, as my bots couldn't keep my small and I mean small crafting area running, as power would run out. I have considered doing like a bot only world. I don't think I would ever do an inserter or belt only world. Well, I mean, I've kind of done belt only. Like, I did a belt mega base that didn't really use robots much at all. I would not do an inserter only because that just does not sound fun to me. It's a cool challenge. Some people enjoy that type of challenge, and that's totally fine. Like, but for me, that's not what I enjoy. I would find that very, very frustrating, and I would probably give up very quickly. Train only, I think would be a bit more interesting. Again, kind of tedious, but more interesting, I suppose. Robot only, I would definitely be willing to try out because I really like robots. Obviously, we need a mod for that since you can't get robots by themselves. Get robots in vanilla right off the bat. But yeah, I mean, there's obviously tons of options, so I have considered something like that. It's more of just like other things took priority. Man, there's so many good series ideas and stuff. I wish I just had like infinite time. That would be great, and energy to get everything done, because there's so many ideas you guys are presenting that are really good ideas. And I'm not like shooting them down necessarily because they're bad ideas. It's just because I personally either may not enjoy it, or I just don't have time to do that on top of everything else. So let's see here. Sorry, there were so many things about just responding to other stuff. So this is a really one from Fred G. They asked a really interesting question, I think, last week about like what are two things that like I found normal that other people didn't or something. And this is a very similar type of question. This is going to get very kind of philosophical, so I'm not going to go too deep into it. But they say, what do you think is the most important thing that our society is missing? It says personal responsibility, selflessness, other. Both. Like, before I saw, like, I didn't actually, I didn't read the entire rest of the question until now, so I didn't know that you had listed those options. Those were basically the things I was going to say. I think that I'm going to kind of flip the question a little bit, and I'm going to say that I think one of the biggest problem with our society being people, not like America or like a certain country or something, but like just society as a whole, as humans and people, is that I think the majority of people are pretty damn selfish, and I think that's just human nature, unfortunately, or at least it has become that like we've become that way. Maybe obviously maybe not become human nature. It either is or just like we have become more that way over time. I think so many people are very selfish. I think so like the in general, this is like a generalization. I'm not not like pointing fingers at a certain person or people. And as a generalization, I think that a lot or most of society are very selfish. I think they are, um, we as people are, like to put blame and problems on someone who's not yourself. Like if there's a problem or something bad happens in a situation you're involved in. I think a lot of times it's very common for people to put that blame on somebody else, and maybe it is somebody else's fault. But I think a lot of times, it's just, I think, personal responsibility, selflessness, and also like self-sufficiency or just like logical thinking. It kind of blows me away. Like, I'm not saying to clarify, I'm not saying that like none of this applies to me. Like, certainly some of it does, but I would say just like it blows me away sometimes the amount of like critical thinking and logical thinking that seems to be lacking in the general society and like people. At least to me, it's just like it's just crazy to me. How the how like they just seem, especially it seems to be getting worse. Like it seems to be as time goes on. I don't know if it's technology or social media or whatever. I don't know, but it's like to me it just blows me away the seeming lack of critical thinking and logical thinking abilities among people. So those would be my three: personal responsibility, selflessness, and critical slash logical thinking ability. I think those are very much missing in our society right now. Um, Riosin says, do you think Factorio is stalled in creative and effective ways to play? Are there no methods of enhancing the gameplay left besides mods that are already efficient high UPS factories with only rails or condensed designs and main bus for early game? Could Factorio have new undiscovered effective ways to play yet, or does Wooby have to start the development of Factorio 2 for this sake? First off, I don't think they need to start Factorio 2 for that sake, even if that were the case. Like, even if there's zero effective ways to play, like zero undiscovered effective ways, I don't think that is the reason for them to make Factorio 2 at all. I think because the thing with Factorio, or I suppose any game really, is that you can play however you want. So you know what? Sure, there are. I could go to like the Blueprint site, or go to like Neil House's channel. I say Neil House because I know he does a lot of videos on these, which is not a problem. Like he does a great job. I really think those videos are great and really helpful. But you could just go to Neil House's channel and do his like I forget what he's calling it. What's he calling it? Just like his tutorials or like masterclass, I think. I forget the exact name. Go there and literally just grab blueprints to make a fantastic, very nice train base, and yeah, then sure, I guess there's not really any gameplay enhancing things because you literally just did something someone else did, but like I don't know how I don't know how to say this. Like I don't think at all that it's stalled in creative and effective ways to play. I mean, sure, like I guess everything's all discovered, so if your reason for playing the game is to like find some brilliant new way to play and then share it with everybody, then yeah, probably it's stalled in that manner. But like I design, so for example, like I design all my own bases. Like I made my rail blueprints, I use my rail blueprints, I design basically everything on the fly, and to me, I'm still finding creative and effective ways to play because I'm doing it different every single time because I'm designing it like in the moment at that time, like small base to mega base, whatever it may be, so like sure someone else probably did it better, but or did it the same way even, but that's okay because I'm like just doing it different to me every time. And you're the one playing the game. So like the part of are there no methods of enhancing the gameplay left besides mods? Well, I mean, mods are a great one, and there's a hell of a lot of mods, so you should be set there for a very long time. But if you don't want to touch mods and still want to enhance the gameplay, provide yourself with new challenges. Like, there's so many. It just takes some brainstorming, really. Like, there's so many things you could just, like, I don't know, maybe this time you just want to go for a higher science per minute. Maybe this time you want to try to eke out more UPS, or maybe this time you want to do single-headed trains instead of double-headed trains, or maybe this time, you know, you want to try to do all red belt instead of max blue belt, or maybe you want to do a sushi belt base, or maybe you want to do a ribbon world where you only use trains, or just a ribbon world, or maybe you want to do an island preset. And you know, it's like even without mods, like, you know, I could just keep throwing out ideas that I'm sure there's no way you've done all of them already, and I mean, sure, someone else did, but they're not the one playing the game for you. You're playing. So I guess I don't know. Like, I don't mean for that to sound rude. I just don't really know the best way to answer the question, because I kind of disagree with the question itself. So in general, no, I don't think Factorio stalled in creative and effective ways to play. Like, it's a sandbox game. You can basically do whatever you want. So no, I don't think so. Let me see here. Origami Phoenix says, can you elaborate on how you became vegetarian? Definitely not judging, but was that just how you were brought up or whatever? So that's the first question. They have a second one, which I'll answer as well, or maybe it's just a statement. That was just how I brought up. Both my parents are vegetarians. They haven't like been their entire life, but they were before I was born. So I was just brought up as a vegetarian, and like obviously when I was really young, it's kind of the only choice I had because they didn't eat meat, you know. And as like a toddler, I wasn't like, you know, I wasn't like, you know, I wasn't able to just be like, hey, I don't want this, let me get meat, you know, like as a like 2 or 3 year old. But as I got older, like they didn't like try to force it upon me by any means. They like explained to me why they were, and they were like, if you want to eat meat, we understand. And so like they didn't like force it on me, but I just like followed the same path because I very much agree with their reasoning for being a vegetarian, and I believe in the same thing myself. So I was brought up that way. That's why like I've literally never eaten meat except once or twice on accident. And it made me very sick. That's the other. So there's like, in general, I have like an overarching reason for not eating meat, and it's due to my beliefs. But also, um, the other kind of sub reason is it actually makes me very sick because I've like my body's never been used to processing meat. And this is not like some some hoax. Like I've experienced this a few times. I've accidentally ate meat before. I'm realizing now I've pronounced eaten and ate two separate ways. I'm definitely sure it's ate, not eaten. But the times I have ate meat by accident, I got very sick, like food poisoning, like very, very sick, basically as if I had bad food poisoning. Um, so that's another reason, but kind of the lesser of the two reasons. They say also on atomic so yeah, okay, so that's kind of a statement, just that they try to stay to like original vanilla-ish type mods. Windows Agent says, is it true that modded Minecraft inspired Factorio? Yes, that is true. Kovarex has said that before and confirmed it, that Kovarex being the lead developer and original, you know, like the person who started Factorio, he had said that modded Minecraft inspired him to create Factorio. I think that's it, guys. I think that's all the questions for this week. Sorry if I missed them. There's just so many comments about like stuff I talked about last week, but I don't think I missed any, unless it was kind of buried. So that's going to do it, guys. As always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you do have a question, please leave it in the comments of this video, and I will happily answer it next week. And if you did enjoy it, a like is much appreciated. If you're new to the channel, feel free to subscribe to keep up with all the content. And until next time, guys, I look forward to seeing you all, and do take care.